Okay, sorry about that. I was interrupted by a buddy of mine. What I was saying here is there's a couple of different things you want to look at when you're hauling containers. Now, you want to make sure that you have a license plate and that the license plate matches the registration. Okay, you will find this, especially with some of the older containers, you will find that their registration does not match the license plate on the back, or it could be that the license plate is expired. Yes, they expire. Also, you want to look for the sticker. Now, typically the sticker will be over by the landing gear, but it could be like this one up here in the front on the nose. And so typically the FMCSA sticker will only last a year. Sometimes only 3 months. So it's going to tell you the month and the year that it expires, not the month and the year that it was done, just so you know. Also, typically, if you come back here, you will find that a lot of times these mud flaps are missing. The mud flaps are missing. It's just a constant thing with containers. So that's some of the big things you want to look for. Now, typically this is called a chassis, by the way. It's not called a trailer, it's called a chassis. This is a 20-foot chassis. There are companies that run all the way up to 53 foot on chassis, namely J.B. Hunt and Snyder. Typically, most days you're going to be pulling a 20-footer or 40-footer. You might pull a 45-footer or occasionally a 53, unless you're with one of the companies that has their own trailers and they actually haul 53-foot boxes. Now, that's a box, and that's what we call a container. Now, when you hook up to your container, you want to make sure, especially like on this one, because it's hazmat, you want to make sure that your locking pins are locked, and you want to zip tie it. Now, these are not zip tied because these just came off out of the warehouse, and it's up to the driver. Hello. It's up to the driver to make sure that these are zip tied. Because when you walk around, see here, this is locked, but it's not locked properly. You see this? So you got to make sure those are locked and it's locked properly. You also want to make sure that you check your trailer doors. Okay? Your trailer doors, they need to be locked in the hasp on the bottom, on the top, and at the door handles. Okay? Sometimes, like this, you'll see the seal down on the bottom, or the seal could be up here or all the way up here. I would highly recommend 90% of the time you're going to be dealing with a bolt seal to take off once you get to your customer. I would highly recommend that you get a bolt seal cutter. Those are electric and they are for sale at Home Depot. So you want something like that. Typically what you're going to find on these older chassis, you're going to find different size feet and different tires. A lot of times you'll see steer tires on being used as trailer tires. You're going to find lights don't work. But the basic thing is to make sure that the box is locked in and that the trailer has no major damage, i.e. flat tires, broken axles, broken springs, broken hubs. You will find a lot of this in the container business. And it is absolutely imperative that when you're loading or unloading these containers, that you wear gloves. And the reason I say this is if you look at this trailer, you will see that there's a lot of rust on this trailer. If you cut yourself on these rusted parts, which is very easy to do when messing with containers, you better be up to date on your tetanus shots. Okay, so you want to wear gloves, you want to wear good steel-toed shoes, right? When you go into the port, they're going to require you to have a hard hat and a safety vest, which has got the stripes on it, you know. Those are safety issues, and you really need to pay attention to that. Also, you want a good bar. This is a cheater bar for the container doors. I'm saying this because I've seen a lot of newer drivers that are coming into the container business and they haven't a fucking clue. They don't have a clue. So, I hope this helps some of you get a little bit of an idea of what goes on when you hook to a container. Now, also, typically, you can hook to a 53-footer at an angle. But as you see here, because I'm getting ready to drop this trailer, as you see here, if I come at this chassis at an angle, it's very easy for you to hit the landing gear and tear up your mud flaps or tear up the back of your truck. So that is kind of alleviated if you have the fifth wheel back a little bit, which I do. But you want to try whenever you hook or detach from a container or a chassis that you are straight on it. This just saves you a little bit of issue. Also, with these chassis especially, you'll notice I did not put the landing gear all the way down, so that it's just barely touching the ground. Reason for this is typically your trucks are different heights, and one truck might come in that's a little bit lower than mine or a little bit higher than mine. And so you want to kind of keep it about that ½ inch off the ground when you drop it, unless you're like my truck, which is, I'm kind of one of the low riders, so I know I can touch the ground and drop it, and I know that the next truck coming behind me is not going to have a problem hooking to it. You want to do that because this container right here, believe it or not, has got about 50,000 in the box. So they are very heavy. Okay, so typically most containers are loaded all the way to the roof and all the way back. So some of these 20-foot chassis you'll see have the ability to slide the wheels back. You want to do that if you're going on the highway for any distance. If you're just going in town, around town, you probably don't need to worry about it. But it gives you a little bit more stability when driving the box. So I just thought I'd come on and give you a little bit of an idea of some of the different things that you will run into, especially when hauling chassis with containers on them. And always be safe and have a good vacation, y'all. Bicycle.